When you serve content globally using S3 multi-region access points with CloudFront, you need to secure access to your origin and handle request signing for multi-region routing. Previously, you had to build and maintain custom Lambda at edge functions to compute and forward asymmetric signature version 4 authorization headers for each request. Now, you can secure your S3 MRAP origins with CloudFront Origin Access Control, which natively signs requests to multi-region endpoints. You restrict access to only designated CloudFront distributions while CloudFront automatically routes cache misses to the closest replicated bucket across regions. You configure this through the CloudFront console, SDK, CLI, or CloudFormation when setting up your S3 MRAP endpoint, with no additional fees and availability worldwide except in the China region. Amazon EKS clusters created since 2018 have certificate authorities with 10-year validity periods that are now approaching expiration. Without CA rotation, your cluster connections to the Kubernetes API could fail, impacting operations and security. You can now rotate cluster CAs through a managed lifecycle that handles the rotation process. Amazon EKS automatically updates AWS managed components, while you update worker nodes and external clients to trust the successor CA. The service provides advanced notifications before expiration, automatically appends a successor CA if you don't create one, and activates it if you don't on schedule. You can roll back to the previous CA to resolve any issues during the transition. EKS auto mode instances and Fargate nodes update automatically, though you still need to update external clients. You can initiate rotation using AWS CLI, EKS APIs, CloudFormation, or the console at no additional cost in all commercial AWS regions. Previously, you needed to set up an MCP proxy with SIG4 credentials or sign in through the AWS Management Console with IAM credentials to access Partner Central agents from your tools. This required additional authentication software installation and maintenance. You can now authenticate using AWS Sign-In with OAuth, allowing you to authorize tools like Amazon Quick and Kiro to access Partner Central agents with your existing AWS identities and sign-in methods. You can eliminate the MCP proxy setup and credential management overhead while accessing agents for coastal engagements, AWS funding applications, and AWS Marketplace seller setup from your existing tools. You can govern access through IAM policies, global condition keys, token introspection and revocation APIs, dynamic client registration, and CloudTrail audit events. This OAuth support is available through Partner Central Agents MCP Server in the U.S. East, North Virginia region. You previously faced a 7-day limit on Redshift system table retention, forcing you to build and maintain custom ETL pipelines to preserve query performance, audit, and compliance data. Operating multiple data warehouses added complexity as you relied on data sharing to consolidate system tables for cross-warehouse analysis. This feature solves these challenges through native S3 tables integration. You can now retain system table data beyond 7 days to meet compliance and auditing requirements. AWS automatically replicates system table data to S3 tables in Apache Iceberg format, eliminating custom ETL pipelines and resource contention with production workloads. You can consolidate system table data from multiple data warehouses into a single location for cross-warehouse observability. The Open Iceberg format enables you to query data through Redshift, Athena, or any Iceberg-compatible engine, and build observability dashboards without operations overhead. When a regional impairment occurs, you need to recover Amazon RDS databases running Oracle DataGuard by manually reversing roles between primary databases and read replicas or promoting replicas to primary instances. This manual process increases recovery time and introduces operational risk during incidents. ARC Region Switch now provides the RDS switchover read replica execution block to address this challenge. You can automate recovery orchestration for multi-region RDS workloads running Oracle DataGuard. The execution block automates role transitions between primary databases and read replicas with zero data loss during planned failovers. For unplanned failovers where speed matters, It automates promotion of read replicas to primary databases. Cross-account support enables you to orchestrate recovery of RDS instances hosted in different accounts from your region switch plan, allowing centralized recovery management across your organization. This automation helps you achieve bounded recovery time objectives during regional impairments. Previously, Direct Connect virtual interfaces accepted a maximum of 100 root prefixes from your on-premises network to AWS. If you had a larger or growing network, you had to architect around this limit by summarizing routes or segmenting across multiple VIFs or connections. With inbound prefix controls, you can now allocate up to 1,000 prefixes per VIF for both IPv4 and IPv6 on dedicated and hosted connections. You manage prefix capacity through pools at the dedicated connection level and Direct Connect gateway level. When you create or update a VF, you allocate a specific number of prefixes that draw from these pools, letting you right-size capacity per workload. For example, you can assign a large allocation to a transit VF carrying many routes and a smaller allocation to a private VF on the same connection. Connection pool sizes scale with connection speed, and lag pools scale with the number of member connections. You configure prefix allocations using the Direct Connect console or CLI/API at no additional cost. Deploying generative AI models in production requires finding the right combination of instance type, serving container, and optimization strategy. This typically involves weeks of manual benchmarking and trial and error with no way to know if your configuration is optimal. With generative AI inference recommendations in SageMaker AI Studio, you can now get validated configurations in hours. You select a use case profile like Interact, Generate, or Summarize, and choose whether to minimize latency, maximize throughput, or minimize cost. SageMaker AI benchmarks multiple configurations on real GPU infrastructure using NVIDIA AI Perf and applies techniques like speculative decoding or kernel tuning based on your goal. You review ranked recommendations with measured performance data for TTFT, inter-token latency, throughput, and cost, then deploy directly to a SageMaker real-time endpoint from Studio. There is no additional cost for generating recommendations beyond standard compute costs for benchmarking jobs.